Here our parent function is 1/2 to the x, so that is going to give us the points 0, 1, 1 base, and -1 reciprocal of the base. All right, and then what happens is we have this negative in front, okay? And the negative in front, what that is going to do is it's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. And the reason why is because wherever we have the value of our function, we're going to do opposite the y value, okay? So in terms of just analytically thinking about that, we know that this is happening. When looking at the points, notice this negative x is not with the exponent, right? It's not with the x value, so we know that means opposite y. So all we're going to do is we're going to make all of our y values opposite what they were. And then we still have y equals 0. Okay, and here if we multiply 0 by -1, that's not going to change the asymptote at all. And that's the only thing being done to the graph. So we can go ahead and draw on our asymptote. We have down 1, right 1, down 1/2, left 1, down 2. And we can draw our function. So for the domain, it's all real numbers always. Range this time, all right, our asymptote is still y equals 0, but because we're going down and then up to the asymptote, we're actually starting at -infinity to 0. The x-intercept, there is none. And for the y-intercept, we can see that it's 0, -1. Okay. Now again, if you were writing your points out, and I would use like your last row or column, then I would assume that this 1, -1/2 is this point here. Okay. So as long as you have it written in a way that I can easily see that, you don't need to label the graph. Otherwise, if you are not using the points and just doing this analytically, then you need to go ahead and label those. For 8, okay, our parent function is 4 to the x. So the points that we have here are 0, 1, 1 base, -1 reciprocal of the base, and y equals 0. So we have all the pieces we need for graphing. Here, it's the x that is opposite. Okay, so if you're just considering the points and kind of brainlessly trying to get this, the negative is touching the x, which means every x value of your points is going to be opposite what it was. All right, if you were trying to graph without using the points, all right, what this would tell you is that there is a reflection over the y-axis this time. Okay, but to get the reflection over the y-axis, whatever your x was is going to be in the opposite direction. So for this one, our asymptote is still on 0. We go up 1, -1, up 4, 1, 1/4. Draw your curve. And as long as this is the bottom row of any points that you have, I will assume that these are the points on the graph. Otherwise, you need to put your labels on the graph. If your work is kind of everywhere and scattered, you should put your points on the graph. Domain is all real numbers. The range, we are now starting at the asymptote and going up, so that's 0 to infinity. There is no x-intercept. Y-intercept is 0, 1. And the asymptote is y equals 0.